Hi guys, welcome to MyGuy's review of Dirty Grandpa. As the film suggests, this is a story about a dirty old grandpa. The film is directed by Dan, can't remember his name, but he directed I'd Give It a Year, a British comedy film where basically a couple of people get married, and it's pretty much saying, they won't last, that sort of thing. And what we have here is his second outing, and this is Dirty Grandpa, starring Zac Efron and Robert De Niro. They're the two main characters. There are obviously others, like the girl from Parks and Rec and his love interest, as in his fiance and others. So his grandma passes away, and he goes to see his granddad, and his granddad says, "Oh, I need to go on a journey," tricks him into taking him to spring break in Florida. That's the premise of the film. But on the way, obviously, we find out Robert De Niro is a potty mouth old man who is just, as the film suggests, is a dirty old grandpa. Almost feel like it's a one-trick pony kind of film. There are some funny bits, and most of them are in the trailer. And the film itself doesn't have a lot more going for it other than what we saw in the trailer. And considering we had these two great star casts, where we've got Zac Efron, who came off the film Bad Neighbours with Seth Rogen, it was a really, really funny film, and Zac Efron was really good in there when they both do the Batman and stuff. It's really, really funny. And Robert De Niro just came off The Intern with Anne Hathaway during the summer of this year. So they both come off some big films. Obviously, Zac had that EDM film We Are Friends, which no one really watched, unfortunately for Zac, because he's a good actor, and this is another film which has let him down. Because of the way the scripting and the film and everything is, there isn't a lot more the two can act. On screen, the two are really good. The film is a bit clumsy. It seems like it's almost a bit rushed. It's like, we got these two guys, let's come up with this road trip story about a son, a grandson, a granddad, coming of age, coming together, just kind of putting everything they can into it. Kind of film, and he's obviously kind of torn between his fiance and should he get married. His granddad kind of saying, this isn't the thing for you. Coming of age for him, for his granddad, like one last hurrah by going off to spring break. You got the girl from Parks and Rec, and it just seems like the two of them just at that point didn't really have that level of chemistry, and it just seems a bit awkward and not quite right, and something just didn't give. Well, it's very early in the year, and this is the maybe second or third week into the year, and we've got this film come out. And maybe so far, because we've had a great Christmas where we've had some amazing films come out. We had J.J. Abrams' Star Wars, we had Daddy's Home, Sisters, The Revenant, Quentin Tarantino's masterpiece, Hateful Eight. We had a lot of good films just come out over Christmas that our expectation at the start of the year, mine was really high, and then we had these two great actors in the same film, and it was supposed to be a comedy film. The trailer looked really good, really fresh, funny. You actually sit down and watch it, and you think, well, maybe the audience for this film is a certain age group, and yet maybe that's not me anymore, and that age group would love to see their granddad just effing and blinding, and that's hilarious for them. But after a while, it just runs out of steam, and you just think, how many more times can you do the same jokes? Even to the point where you've got Zac Efron karaokeing to High School Musical. All the bits you see in the trailer are kind of in the film as well, and you've seen them all, so they won't make you laugh out loud as much. They'll make you giggle. You think, oh, that was quite funny, but you've already seen them. And that's the problem with certain comedy films, and this is one of those where we've shown too much in the trailer, and now we're left with the remainder of the film, this road trip film about a granddad and grandson, both kind of at crossroads in their lives, and they're kind of trying to work out what they want to do next and trying to help each other. This could have gone many ways. You can almost go down the sentimental route where the grandma's passed away, the granddad's by himself, and he doesn't have anything to live for, tricks his grandson into going, and then you could have that road trip element, and then him understanding, the two getting closer together, all of those kind of elements. That's what he was trying to do in the film, but just none of it paid off. You just felt like there was so much potential in the film, and it just didn't pay off. And it's a shame because he's got the star cast. They're all great, and they can all pull these things off. But you just feel like it wasn't either the writing wasn't as good as it should have been, or kind of like there wasn't enough care and attention given to the characters to have their time to develop what they needed to do. But you could have gone one of kind of 2 or 3 ways. You can have a really good comedy road trip film. You could have gone down the sentimental value way, or you could have gone the third way, which is where this film has gone. It's kind of tried to hit all the buttons, trying to make it a bit of everything. Just quite doesn't fit. Trying to put a circle in a triangle kind of situation where you're trying to do everything. When you pick a niche and stick to that niche, and that's where it disappoints. And maybe a lot of the critics and everyone who are in the film as well, watching it, nobody seemed to enjoy it as much. I had high expectations because Zac Efron and obviously Bobby De Niro is in the film, but it just didn't feel like the two of them. Well, they can hold the film by themselves. It just felt like the two of them in this film weren't given enough in terms of the script or the story to kind of bring more to their characters. So it was kind of wooden as well. It didn't feel as good. A lot of critics have just absolutely destroyed this film as well, saying it's the worst film of the year and hopefully things can only get better. I just think we were lucky that we had a lot of good films. We had a lot of good comedy films, and so when the next one comes up, the expectation's so high that this one just couldn't even see the bar. To it, the bar was a dot. It was that far away. It's a big letdown because you got this stellar star cast, and yeah, it was a big letdown. But is there any positives? Yes, there were. The trailer, if you've seen that, you'll see. If you'd never seen the trailer and went in, some of it is funny. It's not a terrible film. There are a lot of funny elements in the film, but they're all showcased early on in the trailer. So for those who've seen the trailer, go into watching the film, they'll be quite disappointed because there's not a lot more to the film than that. It's still good to see Robert De Niro be Robert De Niro, but playing an old granddad, a bit pervy old granddad. At times, over the top pervy granddad. Kind of becomes a little bit uncomfortable to watch as well. But Zac Efron being the kind of the idealistic good grandson who does everything by the book, and he's getting married and he's got the fiance and everything you'd expect. But it could have, they should have stuck to a choice and just kind of executed it. The execution just didn't feel as good. Felt a bit like the film may have been shot really quickly because constraints that they had or whatever, and they just rushed it out. So it's not their best film. Both Zac and Robert De Niro should easily bounce back from this. Zac's obviously got the sequel to Neighbours or Bad Neighbours this year with Seth Rogen again. The trailer looks good. Really excited to see that. I'm sure Bobby De Niro's got a lot more films as well on his plate coming out soon, so this will be a slight step back for the two of them, but I'm sure they'll both bounce back quickly. Overall, so in terms of ratings, this isn't a good film. It's one that I wouldn't say go to the cinema and watch and say, wait for the DVD, sit down on whatever TV subscription you guys pay for, watch it on there, watch it on your streaming apps and programs that you will pay for. That's the kind of way I'd say. It's one of those things you could just kind of watch. It's not going to be anything you'd want to be spending too much money on. So yeah, I'd give it a 4 out of 10. I think it's also come out at a wrong time because there's been a lot of other funny films out, and there's too much saturation in that market field. But you almost think films that get dumped out in January aren't always necessarily the studio's best films. Even they're not that confident with them. and there's a reason why they may be dumping these films out at this time. Like Super Bowl weekend, you kind of like get the films that people aren't expecting to do that well. So early on in the year, straight after the Christmas, everyone spent all their money on gifts and stuff, and you know this film's come out. It's a bit of a disappointment, but I'm sure everyone will bounce back. It's worth a watch if you were gonna watch it for free. It's not worth the cinema entrance fee though. So yeah, so that's my review of Dirty Grandpa, Perverted Grandpa. So many other things you could say about it. Yeah, so hit me up with your comments. Tell me what you thought of the film, if you've seen it, if you're going to watch it. If you're not going to watch it, tell me what you're thinking. Hit the big S button if you want to subscribe for more movies, reviews and stuff. For now, MyGuy out.